This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show from the Super Crowd. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and I want to welcome all of you to the show today, but especially I want to welcome our new audience members. You know, we see in the data, the audience grows every week, and so we know that there are a few of you who are watching for the first time. I invite you to stick around and watch the whole episode so that you can get a sense of what we're doing here. I hope you'll love it as much as we do. We bring you every Tuesday and Thursday morning a new change maker who's doing something good in the world. And most of the time, we bring you people like our guest today who are doing something cool that you can participate in, you can help out with and profit from potentially. So we think you'll love the show. Stick around. Now, let me tell you about today's guest. Emily Dinino is a fabulous entrepreneur who's building a tech company that is really addressing some of the impacts of climate change in a really climate-friendly way. So this is really going to be, I think, a fascinating guest. Stick around. You don't want to miss this conversation with Emily. Emily, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're really thrilled to have you, and I just couldn't be more excited about the technology that you are deploying. It's just really cool stuff. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of ThermoShade, and as mentioned, really our mission is to help cities and communities become more resilient to climate change. And we're doing that by providing a cooling alternative that is clean, effective, and affordable. And where we really saw a gap in the market is with rising heat, people and animals are more vulnerable, but need to spend time outdoors, and shade alone is not cutting it. And so we have developed these high-tech shade panels that can be affixed to any outdoor structure and create a shady space that feels up to 20 degrees cooler than under just a basic awning.
How on earth does that work?
So we're achieving that with our patent pending composite panels that are primarily leveraging phase change materials. And these phase change materials are working to absorb heat throughout the hottest parts of the day and then recharge overnight. And the core thesis in our technology is really passive radiative cooling. So if you imagine on a hot day, you're standing underneath a fabric awning or a metal structure, and those structures can get up to 130, 150 degrees. And while they are blocking the sun, they are radiating heat down onto you. By comparison with the materials that we are using, we are able to maintain a cool surface overhead that is facilitating constant radiative heat exchange away from the occupants and into our panels.
That's fascinating. How on earth did you come up with this? That you must have found this technology being used somewhere else, or it just fascinates me. I just, not in a million years would I've thought of this. Maybe you saw it in school. Where? How did this come up?
So I started ThermoShade while I was getting my MBA at UCLA. It was a very unique and academic approach to launching a business. But the team that I was working with, all of us were really passionate about doing something in sustainability. Being in LA, we were seeing firsthand all of these challenges with heat. I grew up in a very hot part of Los Angeles and in Woodland Hills, and this was just such a pressing issue that we wanted to address. And through that, we had to conduct over 100 interviews with potential customers, scientists, engineers, all to learn about this space and try and come up with a business solution. And as we started seeing these gaps in the market where to add cooling, people had to use solutions that required water or electricity, and that didn't always make sense with limitations in the environment or infrastructure. And that led us to start researching passive cooling technologies. And as we found out more about phase change materials and saw how they were functioning in other products and environments, thought it was fascinating that they had not been used in this way to cool people and animals outdoors. And so what we've designed is this panel that really optimizes the functionality of phase change materials for this use case. So proven material science that we are now using in a novel way.
It really is just fascinating. And one of the cool things I see that you're doing now is you're raising capital from the crowd. You've got an offering on MicroVentures. Tell us a little bit about how you decided to raise capital from the crowd.
To date, we have been funded we have a non-dilutive grant from California Energy Commission, and we also have pilot funding from the Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator that we use to build our first proof of concept structure there. And so as we look to what was next and how we were going to fund this next phase for us, we thought that crowdfunding made a lot of sense. I think that we have a product that's easy to understand, that a lot of people have challenges with heat, have been in situations where they could use this. And we thought it was a good opportunity to engage a wider audience, educate people on what we're doing. And we're really at the right stage for it. We have 2 LOIs for exciting in-market pilots that this funding round is supporting. And so it felt like the right time to do this, and something that we think can really resonate with people.
Well, it certainly resonates with me. My heaven, this is such a cool technology. One of the challenges with climate change is we've got to figure out some strategies that are relatively affordable for mitigating the impact of climate change, because some of the impacts are unavoidable, right? The world is hotter by something like 1.25 degrees Celsius, which is almost 3 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Already warmer. And that's just an average, right? The reality is some places and some seasons are much hotter than they used to be. And so having a technology that helps address those impacts is vitally important, especially one where you're using solar and some of these other technologies to do this in a way that doesn't exacerbate climate change, like running your air conditioner all day kind of does, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's super important. And I think that accepting, some of that reality of the climate is changing. It is getting hotter. We are seeing the impacts of that across many different markets. There are a lot of different use cases for our technology, but when we're seeing across the board increase in public health incidents, increase on labor productivity and worker safety, we see it in agriculture impacting livestock productivity and health. And to deal with these things, we need solutions now that are going to help us adapt while not making these impacts worse. And that's really what has motivated everything about our product design and the markets that we are targeting.
Yeah, it really is cool. I wonder if we could just take a moment for this, a little bit of tangent about the agricultural side. I think you're undertaking a study, and maybe it hasn't progressed to where you can comment on any of the outputs, but I understand you're doing, in partnership with a university, some study about the impact of the technology in agriculture. What can you tell us about that today?
So when as I mentioned, started this while I was at UCLA, and we were looking around us, and initially we were very focused on urban heat island and the effects of heat here. But my older brother lives in the Central Valley in Fresno. He went to Fresno State University. And driving up to visit him from LA, you see all of these cows out in the sun, driving through all of these really heavy agriculture areas, and talking to him about it and realizing that there were a lot of great use cases for our technology in agriculture. And so I reached out to Fresno State, has a water, energy, and technology center. And through that, they also run a program called the Valley Ventures Accelerator. And I reached out to them and I was like, this is our technology. I think that there are great applications in agriculture, but candidly, it's not my area of expertise. And I would love some guidance and resources and to understand how we could deploy this in the Central Valley. And they have been a phenomenal partner in helping us figure that out. And through that journey of talking to farmers, working with them, it really emerged that dairy cattle is one of the best use cases. Dairy cattle are extremely susceptible to heat stress. Their milk production and digestion processes produce a lot of added heat, and that heat leads to reduced milk production, increases in disease. And the current solutions, if you see these barns, it's giant fans and massive water sprayers that require lots of water and electricity. And, in some places are not really that effective, especially if it's humid or in areas like the Central Valley where water is scarce. It's not an ideal solution. And so Fresno State has a dairy farm on their campus, and we are doing a pilot study there. We'll be deploying it late spring, and working with 2 faculty advisors and 2 honor students to help us. We're going to build this structure and collect tons of data on how the structure is impacting the cattle. There's a lot of interesting impacts that we'll be able to look at there and compare to how cattle that don't have access to ThermoShade shelters are doing.
Yeah. Will you be able to check whether they like to go under the shades, or will they be forced under at different times and you just measure milk production or something?
It's funny because I did a pitch competition last year at the World Ag Expo, and one of the first questions the judge asked me was, do cows like it? It's like, well, I don't know yet. I hope so. And that is one of our biggest goals with this study, because the pen that we will be putting our structure in, there's another very rudimentary tin structure, what you typically see in agriculture, and the cows will have access to both. And so our vision is you have all the cows in there and they're all huddled under the ThermoShade shelter. None of them want to go under the other shelter. There's lots of other data. We'll collect data on their dry matter intake, respiration rates, impact on birthing outcomes, lots of things to look at. But yes, that we will certainly be able to answer that question of, do they like it? And even further, do they prefer it?
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, Emily, I just want to point out that on the screen right now, we're sharing a link, s4g.biz/thermo. And that short link directs you directly to the crowdfund offering on MicroVentures. So I want to encourage everyone who's watching to check it out. Take the opportunity to go learn more about ThermoShade. This is such fascinating technology. Listen, we've got to take a quick break, Emily. Listen, we are really excited to have Emily on the show today. My gosh, this is such cool technology in quite a literal sense, isn't it? But we're excited to talk to her about ThermoShade, her company, where they're using really some high-tech technology, phase-changing materials to store heat and very cool stuff. Anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Emily about her superpower. You don't want to miss this. Stick around.
Download a free copy of How to Make Money with Impact Crowdfunding. The book Sarah Hanks describes as
a fantastic overview, not just of crowdfunding investing, but of investing in general.
Andrew Savickas raved,
"This book offers unparalleled insights for anyone looking to make a difference."
Scan the QR code to get your copy.
SuperCrowd LA is the must-attend conference for impact investors, social entrepreneurs, and community builders. Learn from experts who've raised millions, including Jason Fishman of DNA, Sarah Hardwick of The Crowd, and Doug Wilmore of WorldTree. Plus, a live pitch with top investment opportunities. Early bird pricing ends soon.
Struggling to raise capital for your business? Unlock the power of the crowd with AI. My free guide, Crowdfunding Made Simple, walks you through every step to success. Get funded smarter, faster. Scan the QR code now for your free download.
Welcome back, everyone. We're really just thrilled and excited to have you here today. We've got with us an amazing entrepreneur. Emily Dinino has built a technology that could really, this is something we could all benefit from directly and indirectly in multiple ways. The applications seem to me to be almost infinite. This is so exciting. So we've been talking to her about her technology and her business. We're going to shift gears to talk to her about her superpower now. So stick around. Emily, you really, I just couldn't be more impressed. Here you've developed a very high-tech solution as an MBA student at UCLA. That's kind of, wow, blows my mind. When I was in business school, I was barely keeping up with the math, forget inventing really cool technologies. So I love what you're doing. I love what you've accomplished. What is your superpower?
So as I was thinking about my superpower and, looking at what I think has helped me succeed in my career and get to this point, get through my MBA and arrive here, I think it's really an ability to synthesize lots of data and different viewpoints and connect with different stakeholders, take in all that information and make informed decisions. Along those lines, I think I'm a little unique for some entrepreneurs in that I'm fairly risk averse. I like to make very informed decisions, and starting this company in business school through such a research driven approach really enabled me to do that. But I have used this superpower throughout my academic and professional experience working with smaller companies where you have a lot of competing input from different stakeholders, different departments, and trying to get everyone on the same page. I like that harmony and coming up with a solution that works for everyone. And as a founder, you get a lot of advice. There's a lot of input, a lot of noise, a lot of opportunities to go so many directions, especially with a technology that, as you mentioned, there are endless use cases. And so being able to sift through that noise and feel confident in the decision that I'm making has been really critical.
Oh, that's a great superpower. I love it. As you think about this, I wonder if you can think of a specific event, something that, an anecdote to illustrate how you were able to use this superpower to accomplish something you're proud of, however small.
So in the last job that I had before business school, I was working at an ed tech nonprofit, and I was a finance manager there. And the biggest thing I was working on was our 10-year strategic plan that we were trying to get additional funding for. And the finance team was just me and the CFO, and having to take in all the different input from, we had our board, from people we wanted to get additional grant funding from. We had two co-founders who had lots of ideas and different ideas, input from all these departments of what was achievable and what to prioritize. And, similar to what we face now, there was a question in that organization of the prioritization of impact and growth and how to ensure that you are growing in a scalable and sustainable way. And so being the person to take in all of that data and put it into a model that told that story and that got buy-in from all these different stakeholders was a really formative experience.
Oh, that's a great example. I really appreciate you sharing that. Now, I want to invite you to take a minute and help us see how we can channel a little bit of our inner Emily Dinino to be a little bit more like you. We may never master this the way you have, but help us understand how we could implement some of your talents to be a little bit better at this. How would you coach us to do that?
I think a big part of it is really listening to people and understanding where they're coming from, why they want to do something a certain way, why they think that that is the right path. Um, you know, challenging some of those assumptions and working within what feels comfortable to them. But along with this superpower, I think empathy is a big part of it, and really being able to use that to understand and give context to the different perspectives that you're getting. Um, it's something I've always enjoyed. I've always liked being that person that people come to talk through problems with, that can be a sounding board and be an understanding ear for them. And I think that that then attracts the kind of data you need, as a founder and in life, to make good informed decisions that you can feel confident with moving forward.
That's great insight. Great insight. I wonder, as you think about your process for this, if there are any other insights you could share. We've got just another minute, that it would really be great just to get one or two more tips.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'll take it a little bit specifically to being a founder. Um, Along with this, with taking in all of the insight, I would also say you have to be confident that you know your business best and you know what has to be done. Um, you know, everyone's approaching it from a different angle, as I mentioned, and you will get a lot of great advice, and some of it will conflict, and you have limited resources. Right now my team is me and my wonderful co-founder, but so there's only so much we can do, and you have to be choosy and have to have that faith that you can sort through the noise and figure out the best path forward, and find those close mentors who will be that empathetic sounding board to you. That's been really key in our journey. We've been fortunate to have a lot of wonderful mentors and advisors who have given us all of the input and advice that we need to move this forward.
That's fantastic. Now, Emily, as we wrap up here, I wonder if you would just take a minute and tell people, again, remind them how to find your crowdfunding campaign on MicroVentures. I'll point out again the short link there, s4g.biz/thermo, but there are other ways to find it. Explain those. Talk about how people can connect with you on LinkedIn or social media, how they can follow you. This story, even for people who, for whatever reason, feel they can't or don't want to invest today, they're going to want to follow your story because this is such cool technology. They want to go stand under one of your awnings. So tell us how people can follow you, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely. So I'll say our website is getthermoshade.com. On our website, we also have a link to our MicroVentures fundraise. You can also find that on the MicroVentures website. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Emily Dinino on LinkedIn, so that is a great way to follow me and to follow ThermoShade's journey there as well. And then I'll just say, other ways to connect and engage. We are continuing to look for early adopter customers, people who are really excited about this technology and want to try it out. We're excited about a lot of markets. We see a lot of impact with schools and protecting fans and athletes and stadiums, protecting transit riders. There are lots of applications. and beyond some of the ones I've mentioned with protecting workers and agriculture. And so if there's anything that really resonates with you, we would love to discuss further. And hopefully you will have an opportunity to engage with one of our structures very soon.
Fantastic. Well, Emily, thank you so much for making the time to be with us today. We just love what you're doing and really want to see you succeed. We've got to mitigate climate change. There's no way around that, and doing it in ways that don't aggravate climate change so much, the better. We want to wish you every success.
Thank you so much.
All righty now, let's do some good.